Well, thank you for the introduction, and certainly thank you for the invitation to be here today. I certainly want to thank the folks at the Canadian Institute of Mining for welcoming me to this event, and certainly all of the delegates that are here. Canada, as you folks will know very, very well, is and has historically been a mining nation. We are home to almost half of the world's publicly listed mining and mineral exploration companies, with a presence in over 100 countries around the world and a combined market capitalization of $520 billion. We rank in the top 5 producing countries for 13 major minerals and metals, including nickel and gold, and our production of other critical minerals, including iron ore and copper, is increasing rapidly. The mining sector has long been a really important driver of jobs, of economic prosperity in many parts of this country, certainly here, but elsewhere in Ontario, and Quebec, and British Columbia. And while mining is already very important, in the context of our changing climate, it is becoming an even more important part of both the province's and the country's economy, and Newfoundland Labrador is well positioned to take advantage of some of these global trends. We certainly talk a lot about climate change these days for very obvious reasons. Le changement climatique perturbe l'environnement naturel de notre planète de nombreuses façons négatives. The past 2 summers have featured some of the most destructive wildfires in Canadian history. Most Canadians are understandably worried about the impacts of climate change that we are seeing all around us. But they are also, of course, worried about their economic situation, and they want to know that they and their kids are going to have jobs and economic opportunity in the future. Certainly, from my perspective, for Canada to seize the extraordinary economic opportunities that can be enabled through the transition to a low-carbon future, we have to start with the acceptance of the reality, the scientific reality of climate change, and ensure that this informs our economic strategy moving forward. For Canada to remain economically competitive, we have to acknowledge that the world is transitioning, and that is pretty much every country around the world, and we must take thoughtful, determined, and strategic actions to seize key areas that are growth opportunities going forward. Many opportunities and many signs of how fast the transition is going are reflected in consumer behavior. So in 2020, 1 in 25 vehicles sold globally were zero-emission vehicles. That number jumped all the way to 1 in 5 this past year, which is amazingly fast. More than 500 gigawatts of renewable generation capacity was added just in 2023 alone. More than $1 billion a day is being spent on solar deployment. Governments around the world are increasingly taking action to seize the opportunities that are actually unfolding before our eyes. Our American friends are making massive investments in growing a clean economy through the Inflation Reduction Act, which has jump-started clean manufacturing in the United States. Similarly, the European Union, Japan, and Australia are putting into place strategies for accelerating clean industrial growth. And beyond our friends, countries like China have been moving very aggressively to dominate major areas of opportunity in wind, in solar, in EVs, and in the critical minerals that underpin clean energy. China's major bet on the energy transition is something that really should be a wake-up call to all Western politicians who continue to pretend that path to prosperity lies in simply pursuing pathways that the energy transition is fundamentally transforming as we speak. A successful energy transition will be minerals intensive. Critical minerals are required for a whole range of different technologies, from EV batteries to wind turbines to solar panels to electricity grids. If we are to successfully prosecute the energy transition, we are going to need critical minerals, and we are going to need far more of them than we actually produce today. This can mean significant opportunities for Canadian workers and Canadian communities. We have the mineral resources, we have the technology, we have the mining expertise to build end-to-end critical mineral supply chains, not just extraction, but processing, downstream battery and other product manufacturing that ensure that we can create kinds of an economy that essentially will help us to move away from Canada's historic position as a hewer of wood and a drawer of water. This can mean hundreds of thousands of good jobs economic growth and investment, all while doing our part to reduce emissions and to help our democratic allies who are looking to Canada as a source of critical minerals moving forward. But right now it is very, very clear that critical minerals and their associated supply chains are far too concentrated in terms of control in the hands of one country. This must change. If Canada acts thoughtfully and boldly, we can be a critical, reliable, and trustworthy supplier of these minerals and mineral technologies around the world. Those minerals that are produced in accordance with high ESG standards. Critical minerals is an area where Canada can lead globally, and indeed, as I say, many of our democratic allies are looking to Canada to lead. To ensure that we actually do seize this opportunity, the government developed Canada's critical mineral strategy, which was backed initially by $4 billion. In September, we released a report on the significant progress that had been made over the course of the past year. And earlier this year, we updated the critical minerals list to reflect materials that are truly essential to our future prosperity, to accelerate their development and the economic benefits that flow from them. This update added 3 new materials to the list: silicon, phosphate, and critically, high-purity iron ore, bringing the total number of critical minerals produced in Canada to 34. These materials are integral to the products that are underpinning the global energy transition, and they are often in short supply globally. It seems appropriate that this change is occurring exactly 70 years since mines in Labrador began shipping iron ore down through Sept-Îles. As the demand for green steel, wind turbines, and clean hydrogen accelerates, I look forward to seeing the production of iron ore in this province grow to support even more good jobs and attract more high-value investment. Today, I am here to join with you in this discussion and celebration of mining opportunities in Newfoundland and Labrador, and I would like to take this opportunity to announce some federal funding for 3 local projects that support the mining industry in this province. The federal government will be committing $600,000 that will flow through the Smart Renewables and Electrification Pathway Program to NL Hydro's Labrador West Transmission Study, which will help to develop infrastructure to support greater production of iron ore, something that has been identified as a regional priority under our collaborative work with the provincial government in the regional energy and resource tables. This project will benefit the mining sector, but it also carries the potential for an increase in hydroelectric generation and future wind development in the region. The project is expected to reduce grid emissions while providing reliable power and employment opportunities in an area of Labrador where the economic benefits of renewable energy are becoming increasingly important. In addition, we are dedicating $1 million in funding that will go to the Geological Survey of Newfoundland and Labrador from the Critical Minerals Geoscience Data Initiative. This is being directed at 2 projects that will unlock sustainable critical minerals development through database geoscience research into the location, quality, and economic feasibility of geoscience sites. $500,000 is to improve geographic modeling for the deposits of rare earths, which will reduce the risk of investment decisions in the local mining sector and facilitate the exploration and sustainable development of minerals and resources. And $500,000 will be focused on generating new public geoscience data that will allow us to better understand the potential of northern Labrador for critical minerals, including cobalt, copper, and nickel. Seizing the economic opportunities of a low-carbon future will not happen on its own or by chance. On the one hand, we can collectively choose to lead by recognizing where the world is heading and aggressively pursuing major areas of economic opportunity. That is the choice that this federal government has made, and I think that is the choice that this provincial government has made. On the other hand, we can choose to bury our heads in the sand and pretend the world is not moving towards a cleaner and greener future, creating uncertainty and driving away economic investment and well-paying jobs. I personally regret that this is an attitude that is espoused by some politicians across this country and in other countries who are notably absent from conversations and policies about fighting climate change and about the economic opportunities of a low-carbon future. This lack of attention and concern represents, in my view, a grave threat to future economic competitiveness and prosperity for Newfoundland and Labrador and for Canada at large. This federal government and this provincial government are choosing to act by making smart choices to ensure our economy thrives in the low-carbon future that is unfolding as we speak. It is very clear where the world is headed, and Canada should aim to be there to prosper from the transition in the rapidly expanding critical mineral space. This will be good for the world, it will be good for Canada, and it will be good for communities across Newfoundland and Labrador. I certainly wish everyone in this room a thoughtful and productive conference, and I look forward to hearing a little bit about all of the progress that you will make over the next couple of years. Thank you very much.